I'm John Boozer, and well, this is the Milano from the Guardians of the Galaxy. I hope I don't have to tell a lot of people that, because plenty of people recognize it. She was originally thought of for a Ship-Timber build, Ship-Timber of 2014. And a lot of people know by now, Ship-Timber is 100 studs long, and she's more like 200 studs long, or wide rather. And, well, she's too big for Ship-Timber, so she ended up being, when Ship-Timber ended, she sat on my table for a long time until April rolls around, and I got her ready for a different show. And this is where she got to. Now, I plan on coming back to her at some point and working on her some more, but I'm going to wait until I have a backup ship before I do that.
Okay.
I got a plan for this year, this Ship-Timber, and every even year I take on something too big, so this is going to be an odd year. So I think I'm going to do something manageable this time around. I started working on this thing, and basically I went to Toys R Us on my little toy to use as a model, and I built the bridge first, or built the cockpit around the characters to get a feel for what the scale was, and then I could take the cockpit that I built, compare it to the cockpit on the model, and said, okay, what's my scale?
Yeah.
And so I was trying to build this thing as close to scale as I could, minifig scale, because you know how tiny those little official sets are. And so it's up for debate. Some people say it's a little too big. But hopefully I got it close enough. She still has some work that I want to do, like I said. I always meant to put a full interior inside, and it doesn't have that yet. So that you can lift it up and check out the inside. I studied that thing. The aggravating thing was I started building this thing a month after the movie came out, so it was still in theaters, so I couldn't just keep watching the DVD over and over again. I had to, I was mostly working off that toy that I had. The bridge, there was enough information online. In fact, there was even a video of Chris Pratt walking us around the set, showing us different stuff. And so I could see not only the bridge, but I could see the interior of the ship. And I studied that thing and studied that thing and studied that thing. There's still bits of the bridge, details of the bridge that I wish I have in there. And some other details that either I ran out of time or couldn't figure out how to build. Hopefully this is not the finished project. Hopefully this keeps getting refined and, pimped out. And like I said, I want to build a backup ship first. I'm thinking of bringing 2 ships next year. My plan for this year, hopefully both of them will fit in the car. But that's the gist of it.
That's really, really impressive. It's such a massive build. It's really cool. So you've got a lot of interesting angles here with the yellow and blue bricks and the gray and all of those colors combining. What's some of the pieces you use to achieve that?
So a lot of what I'm doing is I've got the Technic frame underneath, and I build a wall of bricks and use Technic pins to click them into place. And I've got tricks that I use to connect a wall of bricks to a wall of bricks, and I can connect it pretty much any angle I want. In fact, I have one wall 1 connected to wall 2, connected to wall 3, and wall 1 and wall 3 are actually right angles to each other, even though wall 1 and wall 3 aren't actually connected to each other. I had to stop and do the math and say, okay, exactly where do I need the pins to fit to get these 2 angles to be right angles to each other? So that's what I got going on here and here and here. I've got sort of the same trick going on in here, but instead of Technic pins, since it studs up this time, it's turntables. So I've got 3 turntables here at just the right spot to get the angle I want. And in fact, this particular angle, I did it once, and the structure wasn't very sturdy. I needed to redo it. So I flipped the connections around, but wanted to get exactly the same, or close enough to the same angle. So I said, okay, where exactly do I need these pieces to get the right angle? So I did the math and got the angle that I was looking for. Another thing you see is I'm brick bending all over the place. I've got brick bending here in the front of the ship. I've got brick bending over here in the corner. I've got brick bending here for the cockpit. And I got brick bending a couple places under here. I could not build a ship without brick bending. Every single ship I have built, which right now is 3.5. Every single ship I built has some brick bending in there somewhere. The last ship I was building doesn't have a lot, but I just looked for an excuse to put some brick bending in there, and I said, okay, there's where the brick gets bent. This ship timber, I'm planning on using a lot of brick bending for the frame. A long time ago, a friend of mine got me distracted by castle builds, and I was obsessed with building round castle towers. And so I thought lots about different ways to build round stuff. With spaceships, I feel like I'm building bigger radius circles, so it's not as hard. If you look at the engine in the back, I've got a sort of pentagonal round engine shape. So all that circular stuff that I played with around with castles, I'm bringing it into play with the spaceships.
Yeah, that's very cool. I can see how much thought you had to put into all this to get all the angles and everything right. So that's really neat. What's this like to kind of transport around and set up at a show?
The top comes off so that I can reach the frame underneath, so I can pick it up and move it more easily. Once I take the wingtips off, it fits just perfectly in the Thunderbird trunk that I don't have anymore. I got a new car, and there's only one place in that car where this thing fits right, because it's like about, once you take the wingtips off, it's something like 4 feet wide, and fitting it fit just perfectly in the Thunderbird trunk, but fitting it inside the Ford Edge now, there's one spot where it fits. I tried transporting it once diagonally. That wasn't very good. Every time you hit the brakes, it tilted.
Yeah.
And, well, that kind of wrecked some of the supports, which in turn wrecked the back end of it, which in turn wrecked, when that collapsed, it wrecked the thing on the side. She still had some issues coming up here. Her shoulder joint basically separated, so one wing came off, which sounds bad. Fortunately, I had pillows and blankets underneath the wing, so it could have been worse. The wing came off, and the stuff on the end to hold on the wingtips broke, but she wasn't that bad to fix when I got her here. There is one 3-long Technic pin that's now a 2-long Technic pin, and I haven't been able to fish her out because she's deeply embedded inside. That's going to be a job to fix that. But I have taken her now to 2 Lego conventions and 1 comic book convention. And I'm from South Carolina, so she traveled like 13 hours to get here. That's just travel time without any time for, well, lunch and stops and getting lost.
Okay, well that sounds very interesting. I'm glad you brought it out here because it's a great build and very recognizable from the movie. So it's really neat. Thanks for talking with me about it.